peace, power, and love. This is Humam Abdulmalik. Well, what can I say? Blackanized Incorporated, Conscious Chess Moves. Conscious Chess Moves chess is a game, but it's a game that's you can compare it to life and the moves in life and the unexpected moves and counter moves and all that that's in life. It's not no game though, it's serious. And I just want to say, before the sun is up again, we start our day. We start our day, some in prayer, before the sun come up and go throughout the day praying. Because in prayer there's power and power is prayer. It's all about growth and development as a individual, to be part of the collective group community in our growth and development. To a certain point, everything should be headed in a certain direction of us coming together in development, parts and pieces of a whole, building a foundation with levels up, floors up, or whatever, in different areas of development: education, economics, spirituality, healing, everything. We're doing this for specific reasons, to overcome scars, mental scars, spiritual scars, physical scars that was acquired during certain things in life or whatever. I just want to, keep talking about unity, organization, and infrastructure. The unity of all the major institutions or players in our society coming together as one, even though they be at their own, under their own fig tree. See Brother Oswell, I say hello there. Peace and power and love, my brother. I see Brenda, Kearney, peace, power and love. Shay, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum. A genuine spiritual divine love from our ancestors through the energy, synergy, and the vibration sent through us, to us, by that energy of the Creator and our ancestors. Through is a setup of energy and vibrations and frequencies that's natural. It's natural, and it's being in tune with nature and with yourself. Understanding yourself, understanding the universe. Once we understand ourselves in the universe and in our temple, that is our body, then we can have a profound effect upon the universe. Because right now, the universe, those in control of the universe, is having a profound effect upon the majority of us in our universe, and giving us a warp way to deal with our lives in this universe, because they distort the frequencies, the vibrations, and the energies that we key into through, like, the music, what we watch, what we listen to. Because whatever we put into our brain or mind is like a computer. And whatever we put there is going to come out in word, actions, and deeds. And if we ain't in sync with what we want to do as a people, connecting, then we're going to be misled, and moving in separate direction. That's why we got to organize, unify in the development of a infrastructure. Within this infrastructure that we are, that seems like it's working so perfectly for everyone, but it's not for everyone. It's for some to hold in a high esteem, and I like to say ashe, hello to my sister Brenda, and thank you for the compliment. But we have to do that. We have to do that and sync, because if we don't, we're gonna be like parts impossible and going in different direction instead of going in the same direction with the same purpose and the same aim of establishing unity based on our needs and not our wants, because they develop aspirations in us that we can't meet. We must keep our aspiration within a balance. And the balance is moderation. You know, we are programmed to be consumers and perpetrate this system of capitalism as consumers, instead of being entrepreneurs and being producers, establishing that and dealing with each other in a communal way, unified way. We be competitive, like we are taught this through this social narcotics that's injected into our minds and our bodies, through the institutionalized racism that we get through the education system. The educational system has a curriculum that teaches us to be competitive, to be denied of our culture, to perpetrate this system of capitalism, classism, and white supremacy in its disguise. It's a charade that's is covered with like attainment of cars, houses, and all that, good jobs, money, and all that. But it's based on always one person being better than another person, being competitive instead of collective, on principles of communal living, helping one another, being in harmony and peace with one another. Everything that's going on in our society is by design. And design is to keep us from knowing ourselves and keep us from dealing with ourselves as harmonious people. It ain't hard to do. All you have to do is open up to yourself and the creative energy in you. We have to go back or go black to African spirituality in a Nubian concept or a Kemetic concept. Long as we go back to, let's say, Akabu land, which is Africa, the original name of Africa, and interior Africa and upper Africa on the coastline, but our practice before we were indoctrinated to accept these other institutional way of lives, which they call religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever. Our way of life was a natural way of life. When we was in harmony and peace, wasn't no whole lot of things like it is, or after we were incorporated into their system, a lot of things, disharmony came in, and it came in the takeover of patriotic mentality over the matriarchic way of life, and my balance in the systems that we had. We had federations. We had this nations that was so wide and far, and we was in harmony with that. Even though we had, like, wars or whatever, but not like the wars that, or the captivity that we went through as a people. When we was at war with each other, whoever was taken captive, they was part of the village. They might have had lower status in the village or whatever, but nothing as their language, their religion, or customs or anything was taken. Even when the Europeans was enslaved, that didn't occur. We are the only people on this planet Earth that had everything taken from us, and you got to go black to deal with your now, because your now comes from your blackness. I mean, and in this day and time, it seems as though we doing all right. A lot of us, the Ofrys, the Tylers, the Michaels, and the athletes, the movie stars, the rappers, and all that. Well, we still caught up in this quagmire, deceptive maze that we be in. Because we ain't together, we separated on all levels. And the most predominant separation is, where we most all come together, is the religions. That's Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or whatever. Melanated people are the most in those religions. And by being the most in them, we are separated. And not only in the religions, even athletes, the movies, the rappers, we all separated. We got to take on a new identity. We got to take on new language, new thoughts and all, so that we can come together, so that we can't be sold or bought, for what, materialistic gain or status and all that. We have to become brothers and sisters holistically, based on a system of peace, a system of trust, and a system of unity, based on, like, our blackness, our spirituality, our deity. We need to find and incorporate a way of life for us that fits us to a T. And the only way we can do that is we got to go black to where we come from, being the original people. If it's here in America or if it's in Akabu land, so-called Africa, because we was the original people on all the land masses. And everything that's scientifically or mathematically or even astrology and all that belongs to us. It comes from us. It was plagiarized and stolen and taken from us and used against us. All these like secret societies and all that, that's the information that they stole from us and don't know how to incorporate it, really, so they become secret societies. And that's why it's a secret. They're trying to keep it from us. This system is a system embedded in corruption, deceit, murder, and everything. And we are deep-rooted in this system, being used by this system. Because who are the most, who do the jobs for this system? Who are the slave catchers for this system? Who are the army people for this system? Who are the scientists for this system? Who are the doctors for this system? We are not us in totality, but I'm saying that when we incorporate into the system, we perpetrate the system instead of trying to incorporate a foundation for us to come together. It ain't hard. We did it before. We did it in the Wall Streets around the country. We have to do that again. We have to do it in the perspective of people unifying in a scientific way, a cultural way, a spiritual way, under one banner, one aim. We got to adhere to what our ancestors left us. Marcus Garvey came up with the red, black, and green. Came up with the theme of one purpose, one aim, and one deity. Go back to Africa, Akabu land, but we don't have to do that, because we built this land. We was here first. We was the indigenous here first. When they talk about the Native American and so-called Indian, believe it or not, that was us. We was here. Proof of it is like the Amalaks, the big heads in Mexico. We was all up in South America, here, everywhere. And California is named after a Amazon sister named California, part of a set of Amazon warrior queens. But they don't tell us our history. Our history is a mystery. His lies becomes history. But it ain't the truth, because his lies is our story. They don't want to give us the glory of our story, and they always want to perpetrate it like we was always in captivity. So we gotta come out of that indoctrination, and we gotta study and research, which with the brothers who did the research, Ivan Van Sertigan, George G. Jackson, Carter, what his name, George Washington Carver. All these brothers that studied and put the information together. We got to acquire the information. We got to get information to pass on, because we got to give the seeds that's coming behind us the way, the guide, to get through this quagmire, deceptive maze that we find ourselves in as a people. And in this political climate, we must be totally aware and observant, and making preparation for anything that might go down in this political climate that we're in now. I don't know. I was looking at the TV yesterday. I was somewhat on a break, and I was just watching this Trump, not the chump, but I know people's eyes blink, right? But his eyes were blinking so many times. I mean, it was like he was not human. I don't know if it's what they call them, lizard, ship shapers or whatever. But I'm telling you, it was unreal. I mean, I observed it. It was on the newscast, but his eyes was like blinking like that. Too many times. I mean, too many times. And I was just watching this. And not only that, man, we got to be prepared for his cabinet, the laws that's going to be changed. We know that people are in places that had a mentality that they was the suppliers of this social narcotics called white supremacy or institutionalized racism. This is what they was selling and injecting into the school system to our children's mind and all that. And this is this guy's cabinet. So we got to be prepared, and we got to make preparations for anything that might go down. I'm not saying being aggressive, but I'm just saying being on the defense, just watching and being observant, because we don't know what may go down. My thinking earlier was that it may be anarchy, police state, or maybe a race war, or whatever, because they was pushing. They kept pushing. They was pushing us, with all these police killings and police getting just walking out the courtroom, not found guilty for is outright murder. You can see the evidence that it's murder, but a police would say that he's scared, fearful of his life when a victim is running away from him with his back to him, and he gets shot 7 times, and the police throw a taser or a gun on him, planted on him, and he say that he was fearful of his life. You go in the courtroom, and they got individual in there. I don't know if the individual is sick. He's suffering from this social narcotics, and he don't want to vote or whatever, and say he can't see whether a man is guilty and that he wasn't fearful of his life. and the guy walk off. Or the police that shoot a man in cold blood and nothing happened. And now it seemed like it was a lull in there, but someone said that it was still about 42 shootings, but they ain't saying nothing about it like they were first. And also, it hasn't been on Facebook as much as it was before. Whatever reason that is, I don't know. But we have to be focused and aware, and we got to be in a mode of preparation. We got to be in a mode of being prepared for anything that might go down. Because if anything go down, we have to be prepared. We can't go out here and be rioting and looting. We got to be organized. We got to get survival kits so that we can be prepared if the power grid go out or anything like that. It might even not get that worse, but we got to get prepared or be prepared for anything. We prepare for the worst. And keep our children prepared, keep where they need to keep going through this process that's set up so that they can better themselves because they're the next generation of leaders. But in that process, they also have to learn about themselves. We have to teach our children their culture. We have to teach them who they are, where they came from, and the reality of that. We just can't confine their thinking in 2017 years. We have to go way back before 2017. We have to go back to Akabu land. We have to go back not only there because we build pyramids here as evidence of that up and down the Colorado River, the Mississippi River. Our presence is everywhere. But we got to let them know who they are, where they come from, how strong they are culturally, what they done to add to the world. That mostly everything that's in the world that we use comes from our knowledge as a people, comes from the interior Akabu land by melanated people or black men and women. And we got to let our children know that. Just like this last president, it was a good thing that by him winning and seemingly being a black man in skin tone and all that, that was a good thing for our children as an example that you can become anything. But on the same token, they can't sell their soul and become a Negro pen in this system and sell your soul for a political ideology or monetary gain or whatever. Whatever we do, we are building to come together spiritually, collectively, as a people that have been in this quagmire, deceptive maze of European domination. We don't want to continue our assimilation in our relationship with them more so than us. We want to come together and build together and establish a foundation of principles that apply to us in this day and time. Malcolm said it would be the ballot or the bullets. People may say we did it with the ballot with Obama, but if you really look at it, what did Obama do for us in reality as a people in the United States of America under satanic administrations? Or should I say it in the United States of America under a diplomatic or democratic administration, where you can take either one and shake it up and see what it is. But anyway, you can ask the Latinos, you can ask the LGBT, that community, you can ask the Jews in that community, what did he do, and they can go to whatever he done. But us as black people in this country, I'm talking about on the whole. Did he really do anything for us as a people? You got a lot of people saying no. You got a few people saying yeah. So how do that balance out? What is the reality? What is the truth that he done for us? I know for one instance that he didn't do for us. He didn't want to deal with reparations. He didn't want to do that. I read that, his quote or whatever, that he said he didn't want to deal with that. And that's a big hole in my perception of him as a genuine man that was for us as a black person or a melanated person. That somewhat, I look at that and I don't understand that. He got all the power in the world. He sat in the most powerful seat in the world, and he been a victim, or he's part of the descendants of people that was victimized by different countries, Spain, England, France, and in these Americas. And he said he didn't want to deal with that, or not, or it wasn't needed, or something like that. I forgot per se word for word what it was, but I know he wasn't in agreement with it, like promoting it. He didn't back it or whatever. So in that essence, that's my beef with the brother. Other than that, good family man, showed a good family, didn't have no escapades in the White House or whatever, where he can be victimized by the media or whatever. But he was victimized by his own political system, the Senate, the Republicans, and even the Democrats. Because I know I never heard of anything called a blue dog by any other time in the political arena until he was in there. So he was attacked by his own party and all that. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like he part of the game, but it don't seem like that. It's all a charade. Like, is he Skull and Bones? Is he part of the Trilateral Commission or the Foreign Affairs or any of that? Is he part of the Cabo States? Is he part of the Federal Reserve, the IRS, the Vatican, the Corporation of England, America, which is? We got to look at all those things in our development, in our spiritual growth and development. We got to do that immediately, on an individual level, on a collective level. It's about growth and development. It's about following the road signs that were left by our ancestors. And the most prominent one that I can recollect or always look at is, they say, back in Akabu land and in ancient Kemet, when they go into their schools of thought, over the door you enter to as an initiative or adapt, it always says, know thyself. And in knowing thyself, you have to understand the universe that's within your temple, your body being a temple where all the energy of the Creator is stored and gives you life. That breath of life. So, we must today, as of yesterday, continue on our path of learning who we are, where we come from, and overcome the divide and conquer trickery or institution of divide and conquer developed in the institutions of our so-called way we worship the Creator under whatever fig tree that we be. If it be Islam, or if it be Christianity, or Hebrew, or Judaism, or whatever, all of them, in my personal opinion, shortchange us as African or melanated people, or people with another spiritual essence other than these most predominant religions on the planet Earth now. But the thing about it, you get all the information about them, but you don't get any information about the African spirituality. You don't get any information about in Nubia, the Dungo, or in ancient Kemet, Egypt, with the Kemetics, with the pharaohs and all that. when you do get it, it be twisted, and the story, the real story, don't be untold. But they give you a fabricated story about who we were. It started with the Nicene Council 325 A.D. when historically Constantine brought some bishops together. I think it was 200 and some of them, 253 bishops or something like that. This is biblical fact. They came together with the Babel of the Bible that was in our scrolls in context of what we have gave the world in theology, and they twisted and turned it to apply to their worship, and molded and shaped it to put their worship along with another worship that they was creating, and bring out this thing called Christianity. And that's where the Trinity comes from. It comes from us with our Sar, Set, and Heru. They changed it. They took out the matriarchic aspect of that and put in the patriarchic aspect of that. And that's where we get the misconception and the disharmony of this life, this world. It stems from the false contextual concepts of Christianity or religion or whatever, but that's where it starts at. And it's biblical, historical fact. All you have to look up is the Nicene Council 325 AD, and it'll tell you all the information about that. Then we got to go black and deal with everything that we can learn of the Kemetic dynasties, how far they go back and what they did and all that. Then we got to go into the interior of Nubia and study the Timbuktu, Mela, the Dungo. We got to study all that because it's very powerful, and we don't learn about that. We don't learn about those eras in time and history that pertains to us. But we learn everything about this historical domination of the Eurocentric persuasion. It ain't by chance. It ain't by fault. It's by design. It's by design to affect your mind and your thinking, for you to not adhere to your own nature, to disrupt your own natural progress in life, so that it can keep you perpetrating this system. Like the girl on the spinning wheel. You just turning your wheel, you think you're having so much fun. Like, for example, we got multi-millionaires, hundreds of them, in basketball, football, and baseball. And what do? They take that money, they run through that money, and I ain't gonna say all of them, but the majority of them waste their money instead of pooling their money. Just think if all of them came together and pool their money, what we could do as a people. If we can come out that collective mentality that we've been indoctrinated with and get a collective mentality that is our nature, we pool our resources, not only the athletes, the actors, and all entertainers. We can produce recording studios and movie studios to affect us righteously. That's what movies do. A movie does, and the movie. It affects us in a certain way, but it affects us in a negative way with the energy or the vibrations or the frequencies that they use. They take those frequencies and bring us out of accord with our own nature. And it is erratic. It's erratic. And then along with that, they put drugs in our community. They put alcohol in our community, and all these things give you an off balance. You be off balance. Instead of a natural high, you want to get a synthetic high that affects you unnaturally, where you don't have no control over what you're doing or saying. It distorts your sense of reality. But it's all by design. It's like putting poison in your body, in your temple, and allowing it to affect you in a negative way. And when you're in that state of mind, anything can happen. But it's all by design, in our communities. It's by design for us to never get to know who we really are. It's by design to not reach out in love and peace and harmony to your brothers and sisters. That's what we got away from. We got to get back to that. We got to promote love and peace and understanding so that we can be in harmony with each other. We can, the killing won't be in our community as prevalent like it is, not from our hands. We got to do this yesterday. We got to take control of our communities in a way that everybody be involved. We need everybody involved to come together. We need everybody involved to rise up. We need everybody to, put the drugs down, put the alcohol down, put the cigarettes down. Purify your temple. It's a state of mind. A state of mind affects your physical state, and your spiritual state affects your mental state, and you become more disciplined in who you are and what you are, what we are. We should be coming together as a unified nation. It seems like it's hard because we be programmed not to do it with all this stuff that we be doing. Now, if we put down this stuff, it'll be more easier. It'll be more easy if you purify yourself through purification of your temple, which is your body. What you put in it affects you. What you put in, what you read, what you eat, and all this, what you smoke, what you do, all this stuff affects you. You're going to be affected in a positive or a negative way when you put things in there that's not in accord with your nature, that's toxic and pollution. It's the same thing in nature. You see all that air, you can't, smoke or whatever, you can't just be in there and inhale that smoke. The same thing when you're smoking cigarettes, putting all that smoke in your body. I'm saying all these things because I love my people. I love myself first. I'm in this quagmire, deceptive maze to better myself through the information that I acquired by divine decree, on the pathway of my ancestors, to make myself a better person, a better human being, in love and peace and understanding. And when you go through these the growth of development of yourself, it makes you no less of a man or a sister, because you're a warrior at heart anyway, but you're a disciplined warrior. You have self-control. That's what it's about. It's about self-control, self-discipline, and knowing who you are. And once you know who you are, you know what you have to do as that shining star to develop yourself and develop your community. When we come together as a whole, we about being world changers, because we're peacemakers and not peace breakers. Our brothers on the street corners, whatever you're doing, we don't have to do that. We don't have to hurt each other. We can do whatever we do in love. We ain't got to make all the money in the world, because the money ain't real no way. It's fiat money, a promissory note, but it's a mode of exchange. But if we pool our resources, man, and work together, ain't nothing can stop us, man. Nothing. And the sisters the same way. We just got to elevate our thoughts and become more spiritually inclined. Whatever we practice, we got to practice it in a righteous mode. But we got to unify. We got to come together. We can't let the doctrine that we believe in keep us separated from each other. That's the mode of divide and conquer. The Willie Lynch syndrome and all that. We got to study, man. Those who know got to teach those who don't know. So those that don't know can be the example for those who say they didn't know. When we uplift each other, it's a beautiful thing. And we got to be a beautiful people and do the righteous things as in accord with what our ancestors left, in accord with the books that we read, spiritually or whatever, and take out the best that it got to offer. Because some books is tainted with contradictions to such a degree that I be saying, or when you look at it, you say, oh, this is in there, but it's not being read to you unless you read yourself or somebody that went through there and put the information out. It's a lot of stuff that's in a lot of books that, man, you would say, oh my gracious, could that be so? Is this really holy words or anything like that? Because it'd be like truth strangely mixed with falsehood. Because the people, the arch deceivers, try to deceive us, but they they're so erroneous in their actions. They give you things that all you gotta do is open your eyes, right? I'll give you for example. When I was growing up, they used to talk about Jesus, right? But on the walls and the pictures and everywhere you went, he was a European with long blonde hair and blue eyes, right? And this was in every church, right? But in the book that is the word of the Creator, or supposed to be or whatever, it said he coming back with hair, wool, and feet of bronze. And the contradiction was right there in front of your eyes, but you still went in there and you never questioned anything. You never questioned it. I think they started questioning it or changing that. That was in the 70s, I believe. I know Wajdi Muhammad and his community was saying a lot about it. Then next thing you know, they started taking out those pictures. But the effect has already occurred. Because, see, a lot of things that you see, you think they don't register. They go in your subconscious, like seeds being planted. So those seeds of deception was planted in your mind, in your subconscious mind, that when you're looking at something, you always looking at it in that perception. So if you've been taught like for 300 or 400 years, or say 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10 generations of a European Jesus that was the Son of God or God, you think that that's going to evaporate out your consciousness? Nah, because it's in your subconscious. You're going to take a reprogramming. You got to reprogram yourself, get the correct information so that you can regurgitate the real or righteous information and not the hypocritical, strangely mixed, truth strangely mixed falsehood information. I just want to speak on that this morning and always, every morning, in the essence of who we are as a people according to divine decree and on the pathway of our ancestors. We must unify. We must continue to promote unification and organization and the development of an infrastructure. We should not be integrationists. We should be separationists. We should separate from this polluted mindset, this devious mindset, this mindset for trickology, masters of trickology. And they do it mostly through the democratic process. Because the fraudulent laws we stand by. The fraudulent laws is what we'll be victimized by. The laws are so fraudulent that we got to next, I don't know how many years it is before we have to, or they have to vote in voting rights for us. The law is so fraudulent that in 1776, when they started all this, we was in captivity. A few of us may have been out of it, but the majority of us were in captivity at that time. And also remember that they had in their mindset that we will 3/5 of the human being. That's what they said to try to cover the truth of who we are. We deal with the holistic, natural aspect of life here on this planet Earth, and we do it in a genuine spiritual way. But their concept of life come from a concept almost of bestiality, because they came out the caves dealing with the wolves and stuff like that, having to fight and all that to survive. And we was in a warm climate and grew our food or whatever and was living in peace and harmony. And that's what we deal in. That's the mindset and the spirit of those who control this system, that's in control of the universe. They're in control of it because they control the media, they control the education, they control the the food, the medicine, every aspect of our living, they control. But they don't realize that within their control, there are a lot of us that are free mentally and spiritually and physically, because we have acquired the knowledge of self by way of our ancestors by divine decree. And we must unite and be uniting our environment, starting with ourselves, our family, our community, and expanding, like the expansion of the universe. And it is a black thing. We have to be race conscious, because we got to heal what we've been through. We've been through a traumatic experience, and again, that experience is in our subconscious. Because generation after generation, our mothers kind of somewhat guided us to save us from that hand, that barbaric hand that did what it did to us throughout the land and times and whatever. And we have to overcome that. We have to be the spiritual beings that we are in our temple. We have to be the mental beings that we are in our temple, and also the physical beings that we are in our temple, but we have to bring them outside of ourselves into this universe here so that we can be productive. We can live the life of harmony and peace, but we have to establish it. And we can't get caught up in this Eurocentric society to the detriment of ourselves. We can go through the process to be part of it to a certain extent, but our objective should be to establish a home for ourselves. And you start with the establishment of that home within yourself, then you build it out to affect or help everybody else. And we got to, I just feel good that my learning is leading me to a more enhancement of my spiritual side, of my understanding of my ancestors' role and what they mean to me, and my spirituality is of a natural inclination for the natural energy, and I don't be separated from anybody. I don't care what you is. You can be Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hebrew, or whatever. With that positive energy, I can come into your house because it's our house. It's only one verse, one universe. One universe that stems from the inner verse. It all comes from the inner being. From the black hole to the other abodes or whatever. From one source, and it comes to resource. The resource that we have as a people together. We have to interconnect the energy. We have to base our perception of things on the frequency, vibration, and energy. And this is the natural progress that we should be making as a people that have an understanding of who we are. And it's all about the growth and development. See, a lot of people be talking about like revolution, it will come. Maybe a time will come. But are people prepared for revolution? Are you ready to kill or die? Are you ready to... sometimes you have to be assassin or whatever you have to do. But are you willing to not being able to eat for, say, a week straight? Or maybe 2 weeks? How often do you have to eat? Are you trained for that? We have to prepare for everything. So, but the first preparations is in our mentality, in our spirit, in our physicality first, foremost, before we do any of endeavor outside of ourselves. And I want to also say that we should and can go to the institutions of higher learning and all that, get all the education that they get, that they put out there, whatever. But remember, you just only getting what is already yours, and you just regurgitating it for a certificate, a piece of paper. Because everything that's in this realm or dimension comes from us. It comes from us. We have documentation of it because the truth is etched in stone. The truth of it is that they trying to discolor, disfigure everything, all the evidence that our ancestors left for us. They trying to destroy it right today. Take some trips over there in modern day Egypt with Brother Oswald Quasway. I believe that's the correct pronunciation of his name. Or you can Tony Bradle. You can take some trips over there in Egypt and see what's going on. And see how they're trying to destroy the evidence that was left for us by our ancestors. And what was left there is for all, is for here also. And even here, they got some mounds or whatever, that pyramid, step pyramids and stuff like that. Evidence left by our ancestors that we were here first. We just got to keep moving forward as a people and be prepared for whatever they may bring this time. It may be, I don't know, it could be a little rougher if they, I don't know, like, I don't want to say nuclear, whatever, anything like that, but possibility. Then they're going to blame it on somebody. See, we all can be victims of collateral damage from the military-industrial complex or the Alphabet Clan, whatever. We just got to know and be in the know. And I just wanted to share with us this morning my feelings and my thoughts, my continued spiritual growth, my continued growth of my people's love, the love for my people. I am a race man. I am melanated, a black man that is spiritually inclined. I'm a student teacher, and I'm trying to learn and teach any and everything pertaining to us as a people. I'm not an integrationist. I am a separationist. And I love my people, and I don't deal with politics, but I do believe that politicians can be, to a certain extent, but you're being in a system that you're still going to be perpetrating. You're just trying to get a piece of the pie. And sometimes that's all it's about, is getting a piece of the pie, because it's a large pie. But we can't sell our soul for any of it, you know. Can't sell our soul for any financial goals or anything, like any positions or anything like that. And we can't sell our souls and become Negro pins, and we got to stop walking around with our eyes wide shut or becoming victims under robot control. Because everything is by design. By design, this hand to be behind the curtain, to pulls the lever behind everything. We've seen a great deal of things occur on this technology that we have, Facebook, email, or YouTube, or anything. We've we've seen how the electoral process or the voting process really occurs. You think the popular vote does it? Now you found out that it's the electoral vote that does it. And we've been hearing those terms for the longest time, but we didn't know what they were. But with this apparatus called Facebook or whatever, this internet and all that, simultaneously, spontaneously, we get information and news. And not the propaganda, because it be right there. You can see it as it go on. Instead of that program news that come on these different channels, the media, like Wag the Dog, the sensationalism that they have on there to have you swayed to be going in the way they want you to go, in the direction that they want you to go. And I probably would want to end along the line or the timeline right around here, because we are still up before the sun. The sun hasn't risen yet, and we're discussing, or I'm saying things. We got to become more interactive. When I get a little bit more money, I'm going to try to make this studio a little bigger with a little more apparatus in it to have this whole thing interactive. Because I know that sometimes, a lot of times, you might have something to say and need to be heard. So that's what we're going to be working on in the near future. And I'm still thinking about the name. I think this is Blackanized Incorporated Conscious Chess Moves, because Blackanized Incorporated is Blackanized International Nubian Consciousness. Conscious Chess Move is like being on a board of life and making chess moves with every move that you make and how you make that move. But our moves are being made for our people to come together in peace and harmony. It's for us to come together, come off the street corner, stop hurting one another, stop killing one another, stop selling drugs, stop using drugs, stop drinking. Purify ourselves. Purify ourselves to become God-like in the spiritual world, in the spiritual essence here on this planet Earth. Don't let the carnal world be our demise, or don't let the carnal world lead us into control, that our sensations or our desires overcome us and be more prevalent in our life or living than our spiritual aspect and our mental aspect of being self-disciplined and having self-control, so that we can be better leaders and guides for those in our beneath us and over us. I mean, our youth, our children, and our elders. We must protect the elders, and in our youth, we must protect them. The only way we can do that is we have a pure heart. We got to change our thinking. We got to change our speech in order to reach each other. We got to show love and concern for each other. And the brothers that's pulling the trigger, come on, please, brother, what are you doing, man? Do you ever think about it before you do it? Do you think about if that was your brother, sister, or mother? Just think like that, man. And everybody, put them things down until we need them to defend ourselves, because it might become a time for that. But we gotta come together and have some order and some discipline, and we can't just do things haphazardly. We got to be uniform in our effort. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to be as melanated people of African descent or the indigenous of this land. But we got to come together, hand by hand, one thought at a time, one mind at a time. We got to be here. We got to do that like we're going to be here, because we've been here. We went through all that we've been through. Our ancestors been through all what they've been through, and we still here, representing us as a people, to better us as a people, to establish us once again as the rulers of this beautiful planet and this plane called Earth. The people that's in control now, they hurting the earth and everything, man. They polluting the earth to such a degree that I can hear it, I can feel it. They cutting down trees that help us breathe. They putting stuff in the food that we eat. Chemtrails in the air trying to block the sun and drop that chemical down on us to pacify us, so we can be like subservient or something like that. So with that, I want to say peace. Peace, love, and power to my people. I love y'all like I love myself, because you are a part of myself, like we are part of our ancestors that's got us here to this point. We can't stop now. We got to continue to build. We got to continue to build an infrastructure based on organization and unification of us as a people, to not succumb no more to this system of indoctrination against ourselves. You see somebody today, tell them you love them. Motivate them, stimulate them, and bring them under the banner of one love, one peace, one aim, one purpose. With that, I'll see y'all the next time before the next rising of the sun. In all peace and all humility, I humbly say, Salaam Alaikum, Hotep, peace, peace, Ashe, Amen, and love, peace, and understanding.